our guest is Meg Watson. She's just having a tough time logging on, so she'll be here in just a minute. So why don't we do this? If you guys are in the chat while we wait for Meg to join us, Meg's this top agent in AJ's group, over 350 agents. So excited to interview her. So if you'd like to have a question that you want me to ask her, you can go ahead and type that in the chat. And so we'll just wait a second for her to join us. So why don't we do this? So John, while we're waiting for Meg to join us, obviously, since you've absolutely crushed it, why don't we just bonus ask anybody that wants to ask John a question, right? Over, what do you, John, you're close to 2,000 agents now, right?
Yep. I got over 1,800, working my way to 2,000, hopefully sooner than later.
Wow.
We just had, you know, that big company coming over here in Bozeman. I'm excited to get some attraction here in my backyard. And yeah, I'm going all in, man. The next 2 years are going to be pedal to the metal. So anything you guys want to ask me, I'm an open book, so I'm happy to share.
Hey, I want to ask you something real quick. So what would be for you, what would you say is the number one thing? There's Meg. Hey, Meg, there she is.
Oh, I am so sorry, guys. I don't know if I got a virus on my computer this morning or what.
Oh, that's okay. Glad you're with us. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I was well, I don't know why I couldn't get on, but I think everybody's on now too that I invited. So
I love it. Well, welcome to the Game Changers Agent Attraction Mastermind. So everybody, this is Meg Watson. Meg, I don't think I've had a chance to meet you yet. My name is Jeff Lewis. I'm holding the oars for AJ today. So
great.
Why don't we? Yeah. So we've got agents all around the country that are exciting about building revenue share. So we're excited to hear your story and pick your brain a little bit. So why don't you just introduce yourself to everybody? Tell us a little bit about who you are, a little background in real estate, and maybe tell us where you're at right now with agent attraction with revenue share.
Sure, absolutely. So I have been in real estate for 28 years now. At the 23-year mark, I was introduced to eXp. So just over 5 years ago by Shelly Johnson up in the Charlotte area. I've known AJ since he and I were both with Keller Williams up in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I had moved back to Charleston. I'm here in sunny Charleston, although today we have a little tropical storm coming through. Right. And, you know, I've breathed real estate my entire life. My parents owned their own brokerage in Illinois, where I grew up. I went straight into it at age 24. After I got out of college and tried out broadcasting for a while, I decided I wasn't going to make enough money there. So I love it. I've worn just about every hat in the industry, except for owning my own brokerage, which my parents made me swear to never do because the profit margins are so small. So I love it. I've been a broker in charge, managing broker. I managed about 120 agents at the height of that part of my career for a large independent brokerage here in Charleston, and then with a large independent brokerage in Charlotte for a few years as well. So I had moved back to Charleston. I had gone through a divorce after almost 20 years of being married. I had a daughter in college and 2 other children in high school. And I thought, okay, I'm jumping back into sales. I just didn't want to be in management anymore. So I rebuilt my sales career here in Charleston, and I was doing really well, about 12 million a year. And Shelly called me up and she said, I think I have something that has your name written all over it. So as a friend of mine, she knew that one of the things I had missed about management, probably the only thing I had missed about management was, well, 2 things: training. I enjoy doing that, and culturing, building a culture and nurturing that culture, right? Having that family and being able to grow something from scratch. So I had I was blessed, I guess, to be able to open branches up from start a couple of times. And so that was just something that I knew I loved. But I did not miss being told what to do, when to do it, being stuck in meetings, everyone saying, where's my lead, kind of thing. So she said, I want you to vet this for me. So before they moved the LePage Johnson team over, I looked it over and I called her back and I said, gosh, I cannot find a hole to poke in this. Like, the only risk is going to be if it doesn't take off. Because at that time, 5 years ago, guys, we were at 2,400 agents. And we were, I think, in maybe 13 states, 14, 15. So it's really been incredible. It's been a fun ride. And I have been able to do the things that I really enjoy again. And that is just nurturing people, relationships. We built a pretty strong culture here in Charleston, which I'm really proud of. I have a leadership team that helps a lot. And we do a lot of in-person events here to try to attract agents from other brokerages. And it's been a lot of fun. So I am just at 350 agents in my organization, just hit that recently. 25 FLA, and I am killing myself at 19 FLA. I'm one away. And the interesting thing is, those of you that may understand that part of it, of all of my legs, I have 30 something people in level 7 already. So I've done, I think, a pretty good job of growing it deep. Now I'm focusing a little bit more on Meg growing the level 1 wide. It is a delicate balance, right? For those of us that are real nurturers, I spent a lot of time, and I still do, and I love it, nurturing the people under me, making sure they grow. But at the same time, you have to make sure that you're growing to that 40. But anyway, yeah, 19 is a little painful because on level 5, when I hit that 20 FLQA, that's my largest level. I have 77 people on level 5. So it'll make a huge difference. Yeah, revenue share wise.
Hey,
So
let's say a prayer for Meg right now, everybody. Back. Hey, wow, that is so awesome. The way that Shelly approached you, right? You can see, wow, the wisdom that she had and in approaching you. And then so cool the way that you saw the things that you loved, and then but you didn't have to do the things you didn't love. So give us an idea, right? I know a lot of people on here, they're excited about building financial freedom. So just give us at least a general idea. What does that look like? And of course, when you get that next agent, we're all rooting you on for that next one. That'll be a nice bump for you. But what does that look like financially for someone with 350 agents, 19 FLQAs?
So this month it's $17,000.
Wow. Right.
Mhm.
That's financial freedom for probably most people on the call here.
Yes.
So,
And it ranges between 14 to 17 right now. But when I open up that level 5, I think it will probably be closer to 25.
now, Meg, are you still in do you still do production and revenue share, or you went full time to revenue share?
So I do production just for repeat and referral. So when I moved back to Charleston, a lot of people expected me to open my own brokerage. They just didn't know I had that wise advice from my parents all those years. And then I think most people expected that I would at least build a team. And I think, honestly, I was so burnt out from management. I just did not want, I call it little birdie mouths, like, where are my leads? Where are my leads?
Right.
So, and I had to reestablish myself in sales again after 12 years in management. So I'm just a single agent, but I have a team. My team, my hybrid team, I call it, is my revenue share group. So level 1 agents, I give them leads that are cold leads, or leads that maybe I don't know that past client, or a friend of theirs as well. And I feel comfortable handing that off. So I have decreased my production, which is strategic for me, almost in half. I'll probably do 6 or 7 this year by myself, but I do have a transaction coordinator. So I will tell you this, I spend way less time in my real estate business now, by choice. I do love it, and I'm not quite ready to give up those repeat and referral clients that I worked a long time for. Then what I'm doing is taking a few people out of my level 1 and identifying who would be the best fit to move this forward when I'm ready to completely step back.
Right. We were talking to Keely Tace, and that's exactly what she's done. She actually developed a key partner that now
Yes.
she just refers that all there. So, well, congratulations. So everybody ought to be excited because we have somebody live here who's probably in revenue share done what you want to do. So Meg, we're going to pick your brain a little bit now. So let's hear what you think has been one or two of your key things you've done that have allowed you to have the success you've had. What would you say are the two kind of things? Well, I've done this and this pretty well, and I would attribute my success to that.
So this isn't necessarily one of those two, but I'm going to throw this in as I think one of the really important things. And that is, if you're newer in the business, or even if you've been in the business a while, playing nice in the sandbox in your local market, guys, is absolutely a must. When you are involved in transactions, not just playing nice in the sandbox, not being that Karen. You never want to be the Karen agent.
Yeah.
But not only that, but really going above and beyond to nurture a relationship with the agents on the other side, not saying a word about eXp at first, right? Nurturing that relationship, making sure that you pick up your phone, that you are diligent about helping them help their clients as well on the other side, just so that they walk away from that transaction and they're a raving fan of yours, right? If you accomplish that in your transactions, you've already got a leg up in your community on who will be willing to sit down and talk with you, who will be willing to grab coffee with you and maybe a little more open-minded about hearing more about what you're doing. So first and foremost, I always say, play nice, please be that agent. Not only is it good for eXp in general, but it's going to really benefit you and your relationships in your local market. The two things that I would say I feel like I've done the best is creating a culture here locally. When I first came to Charleston, I was the third agent here in the area. No one had heard of us at all, pretty much on the entire East Coast. So I did feel like I was jumping off a cliff. So if those of you are on this call saying, hey, nobody really knows about eXp here in the Midwest or wherever you may be, jump off that cliff. It is so worth it. And don't be shy about it. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. So I would say I from day one, put myself out there because I thought, if I'm going to look like an idiot, I'd rather everybody know that I really gave it my all than just like crawling under a rock and not having success with a new brokerage. So I was never shy. I did a lot of videos on Facebook. Social media probably is one of the things I feel like I've done pretty well to attract, not pursue, but attract agents. One of the things I always say is, success, everybody says this, but success attracts success. Mm-hmm. And so if I can give any advice to anyone, I always say, look busy on social media. If you're an agent that's only closing 4 transactions this year, it should look to people on social media like you've closed 40. Okay, so you don't have to lie and say I'm at a closing when you're not. That's not a good thing. But you can hop in your car and go tour a new community and do a live video. Like, hey, this community is coming up on Clements Ferry Road. I wanted to make sure that, so be that resource, be the source of real estate knowledge. Talk about restaurants. I mean, anything you can do, but live videos on Facebook and any videos on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I think are really key, have been key to people thinking that I am eXp in the area, right? The second thing I would say is locally building that culture. And that was just something that I was not willing to compromise on. I was like, if I'm jumping off this cliff, it's going to have to make a difference in our local market, in local agents' lives, and people hopefully will want to partner with me in that. So we do, as I mentioned, we've been really committed. I've spent a lot of money over the years on, let's do lunch and learns. We did those for a while. And then we did happy hours, and we did those for a while. And I still do a monthly happy hour just with my Charleston organization. And we have a great time. You know, it's no pressure, no sponsors, just come grab a drink. We do it at fun, different locations just to keep that community spirit alive. I think the biggest risk anyone runs in this organization is never getting plugged in. And one that is the only risk that could ever be involved in being with eXp, and that is just not getting plugged in. So guess what? If someone in your organization left, we have to look at ourselves and go, oh my gosh, what did I not do as a sponsor to get them plugged in? So I just have tried really hard locally. We do a live panel, in-person panel event every month where we invite panelists from all different brokerages here in the area to speak on a different topic. And what happens with that then is their peers from their company want to come. We don't talk about eXp at all. I'm part of the impact group and Game Changers. So we just say that it's the local impact group that does help differentiate yourself. You know, Game Changers is an amazing group. So use Game Changers when you're talking to people. Don't talk eXp, talk Game Changers and how much the collaboration with agents worldwide, you know, the growth, the masterminds have helped your productivity. Those are things that we have that no one else has. So I've used that a lot. What else? I don't know if anything else.
Let me ask
go
you,
ahead.
those are powerful. Building culture, as you're actually building culture there in Charleston, social media and all that. So let's think about your last two FLQAs, the most recent FLQAs you brought on. Maybe walk us through the process. How did you meet them? How did you approach them? Give us an idea on like how that went.
That's actually really cool that you mentioned that, because I haven't thought about this, but social media brought one of them to me, not even from that agent directly seeing my thing. It was from a friend of mine who I've never even sold a house to, but our kids were friends and we're friends on Facebook. And he sees me talking eXp in a roundabout way all the time, right? If you look at my Facebook, I don't think anyway, I've never been told that I throw eXp in your face. Be very careful. Do not vomit this company. It's not attractive when anyone vomits. Okay. So instead, put things out there that are from a gratitude perspective. And then I think it helps you not to look boastful as well. So I'll just, throw little things out like, I'm blessed to be a part of a mastermind today. Wow. And anytime I'm on a Zoom with all kinds of agents on there, I take a screenshot. So I challenge everybody right now, take a screenshot of this, of your computer screen, and post it on your Facebook, your Instagram, and everywhere today. Make sure we're not picking our noses. And put it out there and say, wow, you don't have to say it was about agent attraction. Just say, I love this company because it's days like this where I get to learn from top agents across the globe and I get out of my little box. So I got a call from Richard Burnett is the guy's name. And he's quite obnoxious. Honestly, he's funny, but got a call from him. And for some reason, he's always called me Chica. And he's like, Chica. I'm like, yeah. He's like this Italian guy. Yeah, Richard, what's going on? Well, I think I need your help. I'm like, what? He said, a friend of mine is getting her real estate license and she's going to need support. This is important to her. Her son had passed away. This is her sole income. I need to know that I'm getting somebody that's really going to guide her. So that was one of them. She has had an incredible first run at real estate. So it's been neat to watch. So that was social media. Gosh, I'm trying to think of my last one. I would say the last one was also social media. I want to say maybe it was Trip Adams, one of the last two or three that came on at kind of at the same time. And he, again, we see each other socially every once in a while, but I don't really know him. But he was with a different brokerage. called me from Facebook and, basically said, hey, I think we need to talk. Not really happy where I am. So I know that's kind of underwhelming, but that's where the last few have come from.
No, that's great, right? That's true attraction, right? They're coming to you. And that
Mhm.
really is all the time that you've built culture, social media, these things you're telling us about that are actually paying off for you. That's awesome.
Right. Right.
So within your group of 350 agents, how many in there, Meg, would you say are like rock star builders, right? That, I mean, these are people
Right.
that maybe you can foresee they're going to have 500, 1,000. How many in a group of 350? How many people do you have that are really running with you?
So if I can say that I haven't done anything the best,
Uh-huh.
if I haven't, I was too afraid at first to go after the big fish.
Okay.
So, and if there's any message that I can say to anyone today, now I don't want to say that in any way that I mean, I love my group and I absolutely am blessed and thrilled. And I do have some amazing rock stars in my group, especially, I mean, I think I have, gosh, 10 icon agents right here in Charleston. And then one in several actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, a few in Indiana. I've got a real rock star guy that has never been in real estate. I'm hoping he's on here today. Matt Chambers, who is already crushing it. And he is in Colombia, the country, and also Miami, and he goes back and forth. So, I have a blast getting on Zoom calls with him and helping him out with agent attraction. So, there are people that start out their group with these huge fish, team leaders or huge influencers in their market. I haven't done it that way necessarily, but I still have loved every minute of it. And, I will say this, 2023, and even right now, is all about teams and indie brokerages for me. Independent brokerages and teams, not only because it's the smartest way to start your level one, right? To keep expanding, but because of what we're seeing in the economy right now, I'm all about the value proposition.
Absolutely.
And if you have not clearly defined your value proposition for individual agents, for teams, and for brokerages, then keep taking these classes until you do, right? Because it's different. It's different for a little bit different for individuals, teams, and brokerages. I just taught a class on that Tuesday. And we talked about what is the value proposition for a team as opposed to an individual and a brokerage owner. So I'm actually in talks right now with several people in my group. I personally am in communication with a local broker owner who I think, may end up making the move in early 2023. That would be exciting. And then one of the agents on my level 4, who's just a rock star, I adore him, is speaking with, he and I have been in about 4 or 5 meetings with an 80 agent brokerage in the Northeast. And he has made a commitment. That owner is now reducing down his number of branches. We've had our numbers meeting and we're working on his transition over to eXp. So, and then I just met with one in Hilton Head this week. So if you, that's a very long answer to your question. I'm sorry. I do have amazing rock stars. I would say at least 500 in their group. I would say at least 20.
Wow.
That's
a lot.
Yeah, if they really commit themselves, right? Which is a good process. So they have the influence. Several of them are way too deep in the weeds with their real estate business. And so we're working on some coaching now to say, hey, where can you hire someone to take on the minutia work in your business? You need a buyer's agent. You need 3 more, whatever it may be. For those of you that are high producers on this call, you are going to have to find that balance to truly be successful in agent attraction. So I love talking with people about that and helping them find solutions.
I love that. You know, one of the things, I don't know if you guys caught this, talking about leverage. So here's Meg. She knows she's going to be interviewed today. She invited like 5 people with her, right? So right, she's using this interview herself for leverage. So how much more people on your team to invite them here, our Tuesday production mastermind. Meg, why don't we give you a second, since you're this is right where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Talking to brokers, you're talking to these teams. Talk to us about what you're saying to them. Talk to us about the value proposition a little bit.
If you'll give me 1 second, I have my notes page from my class yesterday on brokerages.
Love it. Now, are you teaching that in the world? Are you teaching that in the world?
No, I do an agent attraction mastery series that I just do a couple of times a year.
Okay.
And it's welcome. But yeah, it's this coming Tuesday will be the final of 4 sessions. And this time I decided to mix it up at like 2 a.m. in the morning. That's when I do my best thinking. But Monday night, I just woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, we need scripts on teams and brokerages right now. And not only that, but for people just to understand the nuances with them. And, you know, I always say there's a lot of pain out there in this industry. And the most amazing, beautiful thing about this company is we're the medicine for all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just like, oh gosh, we are the medicine for individual agents' pain points, teams' pain points, brokerages pain points. So what I have written down, I mean, obviously for teams and brokerages, it's very similar. But for teams and brokerages, I wrote down their major pain points, right? Recruiting challenges. They have to try to compete against, especially indie brokers, compete against, you know, the big dogs that are in their market, or even the larger independent brokerages that may already have their own marketing platform and all these awesome things for agents, more training, more technology. So recruiting challenges, but the bigger part, and I have coached a lot of teams over the years, the bigger part to team challenges is retention. Right? You know, you pour your soul into them. And this is teams and brokerage owners. You pour your soul into these people. You train them. You support them. You go to their kids' graduations. You go to the weddings. Like, you are invested, and they crush it. And in about the 2-year mark, they come to you and go, gosh, Meg, it has been such a blessing working with you. Thank you so much. As soon as you hear the words, thank you, dang it, there they go. And, you know, as a team leader, you want them to fly, right? If you're a good team leader and you're a good leader in general, or a brokerage owner, you want them to fly, you want them to succeed. But man, is it painful to look back and go, everything I just poured into that person for the past 2 to 4 years. You're so right, John. You want to punch him in the face. You're so right. But everything I poured into that person for 2 to 4 years, poof, it's gone, right? I can't ever get it back. I'm never going to make another penny off of them. With eXp, it's just so different, you know? So you get past the personal pain of someone that you love leaving you, and you realize, wow, first of all, they're not going to want to leave eXp. Why? A, because we rock, but B, because they have stock ownership, and more than likely they already have some revenue share coming in. So team leaders, this is where it's super critical for you to make sure your team is also attracting other agents. You want them to feel more bound, you know, to the company through both stock and revenue share. So anyway, retention.
I wanted to ask you this. John was just talking to us about that, and John teaches us all the time about finding people's pain. Tell us, like, with those people there you're talking, take just a couple minutes here and just teach us how someone would take a team or a broker and find their pain. I mean, tell us how you would go about finding that out.
So with the brokerage owner here that I'm meeting with right now, she's just delightful. I've known her for years, not very close friends by any means, but I just happened to run into her, and I was doing a leadership team happy hour with my 5 or 6 ladies that really helped me lead a lot. And we're sitting at Red Drum, this awesome little restaurant, cracking up, having drinks. And she walked in and she came over to me and I was like, oh, hi, how are you? I almost said her name, but I'm like, hi, how are you? And she said, I'm great. And she whispered in my ear, you are always having so much fun. We should have a chat sometime. Right. And it's so true how people, I've run into like 3 or 4 different people at that same restaurant where they're like, you're just always having a good time. And I'm like, so fear of missing out too. I meant to say that when it comes to social media, fear of missing out. We want to create that FOMO. And I've really focused on that the past few months because energy and synergy, guys, is what everyone needs right now more than anything. So going back to identifying pain points with a brokerage owner or a team, I just started asking, we got together for coffee and I just started asking questions. Luckily with someone local that has kind of watched me through the past 5 years, and I've known even longer than that, she kind of started asking me questions more than anything. Like, so what exactly are you doing? Because it looks like you're building a team just like I'm trying to recruit to my brokerage. And I'm like, I am, but I can promise you it's a lot more fun and it costs me a lot less money. And she's like, ah. So we talked about, money. We talked about how I had no outlay of cost to get this group started. We talked about her space, how long the lease was, whether or not agents were really using it. I think if you try to turn things into humorous, lighthearted questions, I said to her, I go, well, I remember 12 years ago here at Carolina One and in Charleston, what a hard time I had getting anybody to come into the office. I go, it's worse than being a dentist. You have to pull teeth, to get them in. And she goes, oh my gosh. Yeah. It's just like I have the same 5 people that come in every day. So what are you doing? You're just starting that conversation, but in a fun, light way, and kind of kicking off for them to realize what their pain points are. So I asked her, how much does your office space cost? How long is your lease? She's like, I didn't want to renew it, but my husband talked me into it. So there again, that showed me the space isn't that important to her, which was awesome. I asked about her cost of lead. I think that's a really good question for teams and brokerage owners. What's your lead generation cost, your cost per lead? And you would not believe the amount of money some of these teams are spending on leads. And when you talk about KV Core and how much more reasonable it is, anyway, that's one thing. I just ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you this, Meg. So your initial contact at the restaurant, now when you're digging in with these really good pointed, but keeping it lighthearted questions, is this a second meeting or is this you're there having drinks, asking these questions, or have you set up another time?
Yeah, so I couldn't break away from my leadership team, obviously, because we kind of had an agenda we were going through when I met her. So she just said, you're always having so much fun. And I'm like, we need to get together. Let's just grab coffee. And she's like, sure. And that's when about a week later, we scheduled coffee and we've had 2 meetings. Today was supposed to be our 3rd, but the weather is just so nasty. We decided we might be the only ones at Starbucks. So,
So let's do this as we wrap it up. This has been awesome. I'm getting messages here. Everybody's like, this is great. Is this helping you guys, right? This is right where we're living. So Meg, wrap us up, share with us a little bit about your vision, and then just kind of any final thoughts you think that would help all of these people that are ready to crush it with agent attraction. And then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. I'm going to run down just a little list I made right before the call. If it's helpful to anyone, these are the top things that I recommend structure wise, because for me, and I think 90% of realtors, we are not structure people, right? Don't make me do numbers and don't make me say exactly what my structure or system is going to be, right? This is my system. I like my paper. Thank God I have 2 great assistants. So for those of you that have already gotten started in agent attraction, or if you are really serious about this in 2023, hire a VA and ask them to seek out agents for you off of Google, off of Real Trends, wherever they want to go, right? and create a database of agents for you, not just in your town. The number one thing that I have learned this year is I got to get out of my box, right? So I've got Charleston kind of running smooth. I want legs opening up all over the globe next year, and that's my goal. So make sure that you are not too afraid to break out of your local market. Learn scripts that are more cold scripts where you're able to call people and talk about their business. My number one thing I hope that will be most beneficial for everyone, if you don't have one already, I have an accountability partner. And for Meg Watson to say the word accountability, it's like normally I can't stand. I don't like anybody telling me what to do, when to do it. I don't like having a system but I forced myself a year ago, and her name is Jennifer Pratt. If you have met Jennifer, she's one of the most bubbly, amazing, energetic women you'll ever meet in the business. And every single Wednesday from 12 to 2 o'clock, I will not answer my phone. She will not answer her phone. We're on a Zoom call just like this together. And you have to find somebody that's willing to make that kind of commitment with you, right? Like, hey, unless I can hear you being sick in the restroom, then you got to be on this call, right? So we're just adamant about it. So we do that minimum 2 hours every week. There are some weeks where our schedules allow, and we'll look at our calendar on Monday and go, hey, I could do an extra 2 hours this week. When can you fit it in? But that's when I know I'm going to get my calls done. We do them we alternate back and forth. The other person mutes themselves, and then you can give feedback. So it's really, really awesome. And she'll go, all right, who you calling next? It's like, got my little cheerleader. Let's see, VA, pull agents for you. Last little tip of the day would be a friends and family text. If you haven't heard about this yet, I actually learned it at one of the sprint events a couple of years ago. I don't even know if we called them that then, but go through your phone, and anyone who is a good enough friend or a family member to be in your phone, as long as they're not in real estate in your local market, or as long as they're not somebody living in your local market, anyone out of your market needs to get a text from you that says something like, hey, I am helping my company expand across the globe and looking for new referral partners across the country. Who do you know in your area that you would really trust to do business with, for me to do business with? Anything like that. And I also say, put the line in there, I have a favor to ask, because friends and family will do you a favor. So I just end it with, I want to catch up with you soon, but would you be willing to share 2 or 3 names of agents in your market that you've either used and like, or just know of and have a lot of respect for? I would love to connect with them about doing business together. Okay.
Love it. Love it. Hey guys, is that gold or what? There's just like gold dropping. So awesome. Meg, thank you so much. What a story, success that you're having. We're cheering you on for number 20. You got number 20's in the pipeline.
Yes. Everybody think number 20 today.
That's it. Hey, and let me say this. How about what Meg's doing? She's got 4 or 5, how many people on this call with her? How about we all commit within our teams next week? Get 4 or 5 of your people. Get at least 1 new person on your team on this call. How many of you would want to have 5 or 10 of people on your team hearing this information right now, right? So you've got to promote to them, get them here, text them. Hey, we're getting ready to hop on. So Meg, thank you so much. That was fire. That was awesome.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you for asking me. I always love it. And I wish I could have been on here at first, because I know I would have learned even more from you. So I'm going to be committed to hopping onto these more and just listening in and learning.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again. Hey, how about a big shout out to AJ, right? Lars and John. What amazing leaders we have that put these on for us, that are succeeding at a high level and willing to share with us. So thank you to our leaders. Remember, guys, Tuesday is our production mastermind. That's not only for you that want to grow your production, but invite some of your warm prospects as a value add. I think this week coming up, we're going to have our national market update. So just tell them, hey, I'm a part of a national Real Estate Mastermind. I want to invite you in. We're going to give you a national market update. You're going to hear from top producers all around the country and the success they're having. What are they doing with the interest rates going up, this shifting market? And then when we get done, I just want to hear your takeaways. That's a great value add for some of your warm prospects. So, hey guys, we're going to let you go. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Meg, thanks again.